certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rank 'Em. It's going to be a fun one today. Talking about top 12 sci-fi movies of the 1970s. And we've got a great panel here. I found a wild Sam, and Sandy, how's it going?
Sorry about the wind tunnel, guys. I'm really hot and I'm not turning my fan off. I don't care what the recording sounds like, but I will mute myself when I am not talking. But I am just happy to be back on Rankin' with these fine gentlemen that I have to banter and play around with for the next hour or so. 70s sci-fi movies. I mean, I was born in the 70s, so I like a lot of movies from the 70s. Sci-fi is one of my favorite genres, so how could this possibly go wrong?
Also here we've got Matt, also known as Soda. Soda, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm here on the opposite coast of Canada. It's good weather. Just having fun with life right now, my man.
And last but not least, we got Matt. Matt, how's it going?
You son of a bitch. You did it. I was like, Malcolm's going to screw at me. He's going to talk about Matt, and then it's not going to... I freaking knew it. I'm doing great. I'm continuing my streak of being on... I was on when we did 90s sci-fi, 80s sci-fi, now 70s. So when we do classic, I gotta be on that panel as well. And then once we do classic, we could do overall. Yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of... I feel like it's difficult to say because I feel like for a lot of the 50s sort of really was the start of like sci-fi movies. Obviously there were books and stuff. I feel like the 70s, for at least pop culture, that's where a lot of like our sci-fi sort of knowledge comes from. And so there were a lot of good movies. I watched a lot of movies for the first time for this. And I'm really excited. This should be interesting.
Yeah, I found it when I did this, when I made my short list as a private letterbox, well, I've really not seen a lot. I watched a whole bunch of them. A lot of them might skew Disney because apparently there's a whole bunch on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I saw you were watching a lot of Disney stuff.
I mean, unfortunately, just as the only streams that actually had some on. There was a couple that I could see because they were free on Tubi, but how the show works is we go around in a panel and throw out a movie we think belongs on a top 12 science fiction movie of the 70s, and the rest of the panel will say yes or no to it. And I'm going to go to Sandy first. Sandy was the first movie you're going to bring up.
Okay, I guess I'm going first, and I'm starting, I don't care. I know what happens when you wait too long on these freaking things, so I'm bringing out the hammer fast. I'm going to nominate Star Wars, 1977, pretty much the greatest sci-fi movie of all time. So that is my vote. Everybody here has watched Star Wars, I am guessing hundreds of times. I know I have. It's just the greatest story about sci-fi and adventure that you could possibly get. A farm boy, a princess, and a freaking scoundrel all team up to take on the vicious empire. And Darth Vader, who happens to be my favorite character from any genre of movies. I love the character so much. And it's what makes Star Wars so... The stakes are so high in Star Wars, and it's because Darth Vader does such a good job of making things seem so dire and vicious. We see it right from the beginning when he picks up the guy and says, "I know the plans are here, douchebag," and just snaps him and throws him against the wall. When you're 5 years old and you see that in the theater, holy crap, does Darth Vader ever make an impression on you? So guess what? Okay. Star Wars is my pick for this round. Have at her.
There's no argument for me here. It's my favorite of the Star Wars series, hands down. I'm with you 100%.
Matt, what do you say about Star Wars?
That's so presumptuous of you, Sandy, to just think everybody here loves Star Wars. I mean, what are you talking about? We don't all love Star Wars here. What are you? It's not like I own a George Lucas Stormtrooper. You know, it's not like I do that. Yeah, no, obviously, I love Star Wars. I feel like if you've been following Take 3 for a long time, it's like 3 movies I will constantly reference: Star Wars, Rocky, and Top Gun. So
Ooh, Rocky, favorite movie of all time.
The original is, I've said it before, Empire is my favorite, but without Star Wars, you don't get Empire, because Star Wars, it's so funny. It does such a good job of just establishing this world that feels so lived in. You know, you look at the Millennium Falcon and it looks like a piece of junk that Han Solo is slapping duct tape over. Even something like the Lars Homestead, it feels like a home that has just been lived in for generations and generations. C-3PO and R2-D2 look like droids and been through hell. And then you go on the opposite spectrum, when you go to the Death Star, everything is so pristine and clean and perfect. And Sandy, you brought up Vader. He's great, but you got to give it up to Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin, who is, I mean, he's the only person next to the Emperor in Star Wars who can tell Vader, you know, Vader, release him as you wish. And he's great, and Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, they are an incredible duo in that movie. They're funny. Harrison Ford with the one-liners, which I feel like my favorite is, they're in the trash compactor, it's starting to shut. One thing's for sure, we're all going to get a lot thinner. And then, of course, the great Alec Guinness, who to this day is the only actor to ever be nominated for a role in Star Wars, and he is perfect. It's I can just continue to talk about it. It's so good, and I'm happy to own a copy of 4K 77, which is my preferred way to watch it.
I'm glad you brought up the environment, Matt, because that is something that's special about Star Wars. It gives you, like, it's dirty, it's lived in, it's not pristine, and that's the rebel side of it. Like, the rebels are in squalor, they're in the dirtiness, they're in the lived in area. Then you go to the Death Star and everything's clean. Vader's helmet shines. You know, the little squeaky droids are squirming around cleaning up everything. They've got trash compactors, for crying out loud, that have little alien eating things in it, and it's just weird. But that's the difference, is that the Empire is so dominant that they're just, everything is clean. The rebels come up and they mess everything up. So that's a great point to make.
Kind of makes me wonder what happened to those alien creatures after the Death Star blew up. Are they just floating in space somewhere?
Well, if they're like cockroaches, they'd be able to survive a blast like that.
Yes.
Disney, that's your next series after Obi-Wan. Dianoga, a Star Wars story.
Star Wars star story. The bugs. The bugs in the universe. There's got to be lots.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke about that I've not seen Star Wars this year, but I've already ruined it because of mentioning the alien things anyway. But anyway, yeah. But I was going to. I mean, I legit was going to be watching. Was like, no, I'm going to prioritize things I haven't seen for this because I've seen Star Wars, like just like you, I've seen Star Wars that many times. I knew it was going to make this list regardless. So yeah, Star Wars is going to be on the list. Soda, what's the first movie you're going to bring up?
And I appreciate we called it Star Wars and nothing else.
Yes. So for me, I'm choosing a movie that Roger Ebert put in his top 10 list of 1978, and then later placed on his great movie list of all time. He quoted it as in his original review as a pure delight, a wondrous combination of all the old-fashioned things we never really get tired of: adventure and romance, heroes and villains, earth-shaking special effects, and you know what else? Wit. It is the movie that launched the genre that we are currently living in right now. It is Superman, the movie. Probably my favorite superhero movie of all time, depending on what day it is. Without this movie, we wouldn't have the MCU. We wouldn't have Batman 1989. We wouldn't have the X-Men universe. The special effects as well for this still hold up. The poster is right. You will believe a man can fly, and you really do when you're watching this movie. Perfect casting all across the board. Lex Luthor, perfectly cast. Lois Lane, perfectly cast. And of course, Christopher Reeve, who will always and forever be my Superman. There's no one else that has done it better. That's my pick. It's Superman the movie.
Matt, what do you say about Superman?
Oh, Superman. Malcolm, he's so old. Why are we talking about he's so boring. No, fuck that. I love Superman. And this movie is why I love Superman. I've talked about it on like several podcasts. This movie is the reason why I am a Superman fan. I grew up as a kid. I loved Batman. And then I saw this movie. And this movie is, I think, 2 hours, 7 minutes. By the end of that movie, I was a Superman fan. And Christopher Reeve, he is and forever will. There are a lot of great Supermen that came after him. I think Dean Cain was great. Tom Welling. I think Tyler Hoechlin is really good. But it is Christopher Reeve forever. That man just embodied when he says, "I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way," you believe it. And Margot Kidder, who is she's so funny and so much wit about herself. And I love the little moments in this movie, whether it's the conversation that Paul Kent has with Clark. Like that whole speech is just wonderful. Or even just the little funny moments, like when they're in the alleyway and the guy fires the bullet and Clark grabs it and he acts like he passed out. And just the way Chris Reeve looks at the smashed bullet, just throws it and smiles. He's like, we were totally fine.
And it was even recreated in Wonder Woman.
Yes, which I love. I love that reference that they did. Yeah. And you brought up Gene Hackman, who is probably my favorite Lex Luthor. I know he's not like the comics, but mind you, this was before the 1986 relaunch to where he wasn't a businessman. So that's why he's not like the Lex Luthor we all know. And I mean, Gene Hackman is one of the greatest actors in the world, and he is so good. He's a dick.
Yeah.
Dude, Malcolm knows. You probably will have to mute me because I could just keep talking about this movie all day long. So yes, for me.
No, I only mute you if you go too long about Boss Baby. But
anyway. We talking about Boss Baby now. Boss Baby.
Oh,
yeah. But anyway, look, I think I've actually watched Superman the movie twice this year. I rewatched it for this list, just because when I saw it earlier in the year, is one that I actually thought I had seen, but I actually hadn't. But until I rectified it this year anyway. But this is it. I thought the movie is fine. I mean, it is a good movie. I'm not as into it as matters, but I still think it's a good movie. It's well made. Maybe if I'd seen it before, I'd seen been spoiled for all the other Supermans that have been around, like Tom Welling, Tyler Hoechlin, and all that recently, because I do prefer Tyler Hoechlin Superman over Christopher Reeve. But I'll still say yes. I still think it belongs on this list, and I still think it's a good movie. And for those who say it's not sci-fi, Superman is an alien. What's more sci-fi than that? Anyway, Sandy, what do you say about Superman?
Okay. So this is another movie that I saw as a child when it first came out in the movies. Once again, I'm old. There's a reason why Superman is my favorite hero of any genre of comic bookdom, period. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says about him being boring and just the same old, same old. You guys are missing one spectacular Superman that I think deserves a mention. Why can't I just now? I just forgot his name. I'll remember it in a second. But it just from Christopher Reeve, who, by the way, is absolutely fantastic. He's the prototypical Superman. He bulked up so he'd look good in the skin tight suit. You know, the catchphrase, I can't remember what movie it was, but it was after the movie, and it was after the movie, and all that happened on the screen was the movie ended, and then on the screen popped up and other things, summer or what of this year, you will believe a man can fly. And that was it. That was all that was there. And you're just sitting back, and then the posters started coming out with exactly what you said. You will believe that Superman, that one little simple, just that. And and you start freaking out as a kid. You're just like, oh my god, you knew of Superman because we were kids and comic books were around. But to see it on the big screen is just like anything. It's larger than life. That's why the big screen is the big screen. Matt, come on, give me.
I got Marlon Brando Jor-El. I forgot I had this.
That's
now it's
so
from
good.
Superman Returns, but it is Brando
It's
Jor-El.
still good.
But that tagline is literal.
It is.
Yes.
Like, you believed because you hadn't seen it before. You believed that he was independently flying around the world.
They still haven't done it better since, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it up to Henry Cavill, and I'm extraordinarily excited with the news that came out of San Diego Comic-Con that he's actually going to reprise the role.
They actually didn't announce it.
Oh, they did
The
not
only
announce
thing
it?
they
didn't
announced
show
at
up.
DC was Black Adam and Shazam. They didn't. Devil was not there.
Well,
Sorry.
Let's see. I'll hold on to it. But I loved Henry Cavill as the Man of Steel in both the Justice League movies and Batman versus Superman and his standalone Man of Steel movie. I think he's a good successor.
Sandy's thoughts on Rhyme and Reason's episode on Superman, which is on this channel right now.
Absolutely. But yeah, this was a no-brainer for me. I knew it was going to be on the list. It's one of these ones that I thought I was going to be, sitting there with Matt going, all right, we got the same list, Matt. God damn it. But it's Soda's turn on this one. So, this is an absolute thumbs up for me. You're right 100% that we wouldn't be having the awesome superhero movie revolution that we've had over the last 20 years without Christopher Reeve flying around, Metropolis with Lois Lane singing a song in his head. Give it up.
Shout out to Richard Donner.
Absolutely.
And
Who
also,
got
if you guys
screwed?
haven't read the 6-issue miniseries Superman 78,
So
highly recommend. It is fantastic.
And this is, in my opinion, John Williams' best theme.
It's my favorite score of his.
It is absolutely, even over Star Wars.
Yes.
It is absolutely, every time I hear it, every time, not bar none, every time I hear it, every single hair on my arms goes up. My hair on my neck goes up. I sit back and all I can do is smile. I can listen into it in my head right now, and I am absolutely. Superman is.
He's an alien.
He's
How
an
is that not
alien.
sci-fi?
And a
He literally
superhero.
comes from
Are you
another
seriously-
galaxy.
What the hell?
What I was about to say is, I wasn't just saying anyone on this panel was going to bring up their argument. It's more going to be potentially in the comment sections. We don't put the list up.
He's literally an alien. What do you guys want?
I am.
But
I cannot
He's
even-
an alien.
anyway, Matt, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up simply just because I feel like if I bring it up earlier, it has a better chance to get on. What does it say? Sci-fi? Yeah, sci-fi. Once again, alien. Aliens. Oh, which works with my hair right now. If I just made it a little bit more poofier, aliens. Malcolm, we'll make that meme later for the comment section. So I'm bringing this up. Back in 1979, an old school hero was reborn. Or what am I doing? I should say, in 1987, NASA launched its last deep space probe. And I can't remember the whole thing. It was blown off its trajectory, and it was frozen in time with its pilot, William Buck Rogers. It arrived to Earth 500 years later. I'm talking about Buck Rogers in the 25th century. So this movie was the theatrical pilot, essentially, to the, unfortunately, short-lived revival of Buck Rogers, which is my favorite interpretation of Buck Rogers. Gil Gerard stars in this, and he is. It's so funny because there's so many times where fish out of water stories have been done, but he doesn't. Gil Gerard never plays like, oh, what is all this? Like, he just plays it like he's a military guy. He's just like, I'm assessing this. I gotta go along with it, but he's fun, like the disco scene when they're at this party and he asks the band, he's like, just play something fast and loose. So he starts, disco dancing. Aaron Gray as Wilma Deering, one of the greatest sci-fi like female leads of all time. She is Buck's boss, and she is in every way his superior. She's fantastic. Mel Blanc as the voice of Twiggy, obviously. BBB, what's up, Buck? Princess Adala, everything about this movie, it is fun, and that's what I love about this movie. It's fun. Like, Buck Rogers is fun. There's great action sequences. The theme music is awesome. Gil Gerard's just an incredible lead. You have a great cast. Yeah, Buck Rogers in the 20th century is my first nomination.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you said 1979, I had the same thought as Eric. I thought you're going a different direction, which will probably come up later anyway. But that being said, I have not seen Buck Rogers, so I cannot say anything about this. Sandy, what do you say about Buck Rogers?
Oh, freaking hell! This movie sucks so bad. It's just horrible all the way through. It is not. Bitty, what's up, Buck? Come on, this movie is great just for Twiggy. Just for Twiggy. Everything else is just icing. But just that rude little robot is freaking awesome. Buck Gil Gerard is so cool. He is literally a 70s guy that has just wandered into the future, and he's just like, man, it's so cool around here. He's not even phased. He just wakes up and he's like, where the hell am I? Oh, okay, I accept that. All right, let's go. Woohoo! What do you want me to do now? You want me to fly around? Look at these cool ships I get. And Aaron Gray, seriously, I'm telling you, I had the hots for her. I did. I mean, she's gorgeous. And she's such a tough, strong, independent woman who knows exactly what she wants, and it ain't Buck. So, so he learns that real fast, really quick in this movie. It is just a good movie all the way around, and it was such a good movie that they made it into a series. And that's one of the things that you can say, well, okay, what's its lasting effects? Its lasting effects is that it went from movie and then went into a longevity of a TV show. That's what you can say is a success. I think that Buck Rogers not only deserves to be on this list, but it deserves to be high up on the list when we finally come down on it. This is such a slam dunk for me. I have no problem with it. Love it. So great. Bitty. That's all, Malcolm.
Bitty. That's all.
Which means, Soda, it's up to you. What do you say about Buck Rogers in the 25th century?
I've only seen Duck Dodgers in the 25th and a half century. I've never.
Great show. Great show.
I've never seen Buck Rogers, unfortunately.
So what does this mean?
Unfortunately, Buck Rogers isn't going to make this list.
Like it, you did win me over. I do want to watch it. Like, I'd only ever heard of it. I didn't know anything about it.
You know what?
I might actually check it out
It
tonight.
may not make the list, but Sandy, so long as we get people to check it out, that's what's important. More people need to know the good word of Buck.
Let's see if it's streaming.
I mean, it's one I've always
probably
wanted.
Not.
I mean,
it might be on like Tubi or something.
I mean, if it was, I probably would have watched it. Well, it's not on Tubi.
However,
for me.
It was split up when the show started. It was split up into two parts as the pilot, so you can watch the two parts of the pilot, which is the movie.
Okay, yeah, I did hear that. I did find it on.
You can watch it that way.
So I might check it out later.
No, but with that being said, it's up to me. I'm going to not go for something obvious just because there's a couple that I'm pretty sure are going to come up regardless of if I bring it up or not. I'm going to try for one I watched for the first time today. It stars Sylvester Stallone. I'm going to make the argument that Rocky is sci-fi. No, just kidding.
Sure. No. I'll find a way to fight for it. I'll find a way. It's me.
Hey, Rocky Four. There's a robot. That could probably count, but that's not. That wasn't wasn't
I didn't even think
70s.
of that for the 80s.
But I'm bringing up the movie. It was remade in the 2000s, I think, with Jason Statham. I'm bringing up Diff Race 2000. I watched it. I watched this literally just before we went. Just before this. And this is a movie which I think is better than Mad Max Fury Road. Like it's essentially it's in the set in the future. It's basically the plot is there's these road races called Diff Races, and they gain points for killing killing random people in these souped out cars. And I'm pretty sure it's the inspiration for what the video game Carmageddon was. But this is just one of those fun movies which there isn't a lot of plot to it, but it's just one of those ones I think is a really fun concept and a really interesting dystopian future. And yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And Sylvester Stallone's in it. David Carradine is in this. Those are the only two really notable names. But it's really a lot of fun, and I think it is honest. Sandy, what do you say about Diff Race 2000?
Okay, so I had this movie in my honorable mentions, not because I don't think it deserves to be on the list. It's just that I had other movies that I thought wanted to be on there as well. Death Race 2000 is fun, man. It's once again, I find a lot of fun in 70s sci-fi because a lot of it is like the years have already passed. You know what I mean? Like it was so far in the future in the 70s, but we're already there, and it's a lot of fun. So this was like set in the year 2000, and it was the American is like a totalitarian regime, and they're just on the verge of collapse. Well, what year is it? 2022. We were a little bit off on the time, but things like this are just fun. Like Malcolm said, this is just one of those fun movies that you just get behind. You're like, okay, it's just senseless violence, but you know what? They do it in a cool way. I thought he was going for that. I'm gonna say.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
What?
You froze.
You froze.
Oh,
You froze
sorry.
Right in the middle. You were like, I thought he was going for.
Oh, I thought he was going for a different.
We're waiting.
Yeah, I thought he was going for a different movie, but I'll bring that movie up in a little bit later because it's similar. But yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes to this because it's fun.
Soda, what do you say about Death Race 2000?
So I've only seen it the one time when I was younger, and I do remember enjoying it, but I just never went back to it. So I will say yes for the sake of this, because I did remember enjoying it.
Yep. And Matt, what do you say about Death Race 2000?
I have nothing to say because I have not seen Death Race 2000.
But with that, Death Race 2000 does make this anyway, and this one actually is free on Tubi. At least it was for me.
No, okay. If it is,
Yeah. I mean, that's how I watched it.
I don't know. Tubi's kind of dead to me. They took Hercules: The Legendary Journeys off, and ever since they did that, it's been dead to me.
Anyway, Sandy, was the next movie you're going to bring up?
The next movie that I'm going to bring up. What should I bring up? I thought I had a one that I was just going to go, but I'm just going to go with. I'm going to go with the start of the 70s, 1970 to be exact. And it is probably one of the early dystopian type future movies, even if it's not considered that. But if you think about it, it sort of is, especially if you get all the way to the end. So here is my pick. The original Planet of the Apes. This movie has got a lot of messaging in it, but in itself, it's a pretty good standalone movie. I know that they remade it. The Matt Reeves versions are fantastic. I love it. But
you did say the original first?
Yeah. That's
The first one
68.
is 68.
Beneath came out in 70.
Yeah, all the other ones did. Not that
Yeah,
one.
Beneath
My
is
bad.
1970. Yeah.
Okay, that's what they're Malcolm. Edit this part out. I'll pick a new movie. I was pretty sure that was the one.
You could
but-
talk about Beneath the Planet.
I don't like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, so it's I don't want to vote for it. Okay, so all right, redo backwards. I'm gonna nominate. Fuck it. All right, I'm gonna nominate Alien. I am not a horror fan, as many of you in this community know that I'm not a horror person. I don't like horror movies. I don't think they're fun. I don't think there's anything good about being scared. It just makes you lose and die earlier in life. So no, I don't like. But this movie really did something to me, and it made it so. What the hell is Matt doing over there?
I'm pointing. I'm agreeing with you. I'm doing the like meme to where I'm like this. I can't. The mirroring fucks me up sometimes when I'm on these videos.
So you have this ship that is just a salvage ship. It's just with regular people on it that are on this ship, and they land on this planet because there's interesting things, and they find these eggs. Stupid person lets it get attached to his face, and the hilarity starts with one freaking alien that grows from a little thing that bursts out of somebody's chest and runs around the entire ship, gets bigger and bigger as he's eating more and more people. And we get to the end. This movie is so good, not only because it just started a genre. I mean, like, how many Alien spin-offs have we had so far? A billion. So guess what? This one is a franchise starter. It is fantastic in its simplicity. You're just alone on a dark ship with a bad monster that wants to eat your face off in several things and plant things into you so you get more aliens. So for me, Alien is one of the top sci-fi movies of the 70s. Not only because it's awesome as a standalone movie, but because it spawned so many really great sequels. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that go, "What? Some sequels really suck." Yeah, of course they do. But the second one doesn't. Aliens is by far one of the best sci-fi action movies in history. So argue with me all you want, but Aliens is my pick this round.
Soda, what do you say about Alien?
No argument here. Again, Aliens is my preferred in the series, but it doesn't mean I don't love and appreciate the first one. It is easily one of the most iconic sci-fi movies, as you said, but also one of the best horror movies because it uses its atmosphere to make you scared. There's really not much music in this at all. And it's basically a game of seek with an acid spitting creature. No, this is and also, of course, the special effects are so iconic. The design of the xenomorph, and then of course, what were they called? The guardians of the big creature.
What were they?
Yeah, but
Space jockey.
The what?
The space jockey.
Yeah, the space jockey. This is just hands down a fantastic movie. One of the best sci-fi movies, one of the best horror movies, one of the best movies ever made.
Matt, what do you say about Alien?
Yeah, when it comes to Alien and Aliens, which is where the series ends for me, Aliens is my preferred film, but I still really like this movie. Like Sandy, I'm not a horror person at all. Malcolm knows this. But this movie is great. It's a haunted house movie in space. That's what it is, and it's so, it's funny. Ridley Scott. I talked about Star Wars. Ridley Scott talked about how Star Wars influenced Alien because when he was making Alien, he was like, we need to make this ship feel like they've been in this for years, and you feel it. What I like is right off the start, like some horror movies will try to pull you in, and it's a happy family moving into a new town. Alien, the beginning stuff to where you don't see any people and the computers where it makes it look like the helmets are talking to each other, which is great. It sets you already into this, and then of course, the cast. Sigourney Weaver she's my favorite actress of all time. She's just incredible in this role. Tom Skerritt is just fantastic. Scared's just great, and I mean, every time he goes in to talk to Mother, it's like that whole the room and just Mother's responses to him. I think Scared's always great, and yeah, the entire cast are all so good. But for me, it's always would you feel so bad for Dallas? It's when he's in there with the flamethrower, and he thinks he's gonna get out, and then right at the last moment, the alien just gets him. It's fantastic, and I think that's what the movie does a good job of. Is you like all those characters, that's something that Aliens also, except for like Burke, you don't like him, but like it followed suit too, to where you're like, I like all these people, I want to see them all and get off. And yeah, it's a great movie. It deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, so for the longest time, I'd never seen an Alien movie. I saw the first one for the first time last year, and I'm now currently seen up to AVP 2. So
Okay.
I've still, but the first Alien is just really good. It's like Sigourney Weaver really showed sort of why everyone keeps raving about her characters, and she's just really a badass. And this is easily a yes for me. So yeah.
I named my cat after Sigourney Weaver's character. My cat was Ripley. That was her name. We specifically picked her and named her that because of Sigourney Weaver. That's how powerful as a lead she is throughout the entire series. I know a lot of people don't want 3 or 4 in the things like that, but just take 2 and 1 all by themselves, and she is one of the badasses in sci-fi history.
And just a quick thing before we move on, something I love to do when rewatching this movie is Ridley Scott in so many moments puts the alien in plain sight. Like there's that moment when Brain from Escape from New York, I can't remember his name, but he's looking up at the rafters and the alien's hanging there. But you don't notice it because that it blends in so well. Yeah. I love going back and trying to see where Ridley Scott was able to sneak the alien into. It's impressive. I just, in case anybody loves to rewatch that movie, try to look and see where the alien's just right there. He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm gonna kill you.
So what is the next movie you're gonna bring up?
I'm gonna go a little bit off the board with this one. Henry David.
That's it. Thank you, Eric. I knew it.
When you think of this movie, you don't necessarily think of it as a sci-fi movie at first because everything else is just so out there. It is a movie that comes straight from transsexual Transylvania. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It is a sci-fi film, folks. It turns out that they are aliens. But it's just a great movie. Who here doesn't know the Time Warp or damn it, Janet, who doesn't know those? Or of course, Tim Curry, it's easily his most iconic role.
I don't know, Scooby-Doo and the Mystery of the Witch's Ghost, pretty up there.
Yeah, touche. No, I mean, this is a movie it is spawned like a tradition. It pretty much arguably made the midnight showings a household name, and people showing up in cosplay and doing shenanigans like throwing rice and blowing on kazoos and all that stuff. It is an institution in the musical world. I actually have behind me a vinyl from the very first North American run of the Rocky Horror Show with Tim Curry and Meatloaf. It deserves to be on this list just because of how great it is. And yes, it is a sci-fi movie. It is a parody of a sci-fi movie, but it is still a sci-fi movie nonetheless.
Matt, what do you say about the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
So I know a lot of this movie just from pulp culture references and a lot of imagery, but I have never actually sat down and watched Rocky Horror Picture Show ever because I thought Sylvester Stallone was in it, but he's not. So what the hell is with that name?
I'm surprised no one's done a parody movie of Sylvester Stallone's character of Rocky in the
Put Rocky in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Hey, you know anticipation all this. Hey, why you throwing the rice at me, man? Huh? Mick, you'll cut me, Tim.
But that being said, I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think it's a really good movie, and if you want any further proof that this is a parody of science fiction movies, the first song is Science Fiction Double Feature.
Sure, yeah.
Like, because they do reference a whole bunch of movies, like I think Invasion of the Body Snatchers gets referenced at one stage, just in that opening song. But while this movie doesn't necessarily age too well now, but it's one of those bad movie experiences before The Room sort of got up and running.
Yeah.
So I think if this one never got that cult following that it did, I think we wouldn't be talking about the midnight showings of The Room where they have to do interactive stuff there as well. But
I've never heard of interactive stuff with The Room.
well, apparently, like at the cinemas, like every time you see a picture of a spoon, you throw a spoon at the screen
Yeah.
or something.
Okay.
There is.
I just heard about that. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I know someone who did it once in Vancouver.
Yeah.
You throw a water bottle.
But that being said, Sandy, it's up to you. What do you say about the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Okay. So I have a Rocky Horror Picture Story show. Story, sorry. So I had never seen it. And in the 90s, a girlfriend of mine took me to this midnight showing. And I was like, okay, I've never seen it before, so this will be all right. I'll watch it. It's midnight. Who cares? It's a show. It was one of the next to episode 1, going to episode 1 in the theater before it even started. The atmosphere in the Rocky Horror Picture Show was absolutely insane. There were people dressed up in every single possible costume you could imagine. Some were even dressed up in costumes that weren't even part of the movie. They just wanted to dress up as something and go and experience this. The movie itself, I love. It's such a fun movie. I mean, how can you not like Dr. Frankenfurter? I mean, a transvestite scientist. I mean, seriously, how do you not just go, all right, I'm in. That's it. I'm just in with that guy. Tim Curry's so great. My favorite Tim Curry performance is him in Clue. He's just so fantastic in that movie. But this is, for me, his next greatest performance. I understand that it's listed as a musical comedy. I get that. But it is absolutely a parody of science fiction. Yeah. So it counts as science fiction in my book. And I say, yes, it was on my list as an honorable mention, but I can absolutely see Soda's passion for it. And I can agree with it as well, because it's the movie. It's the movie itself is a good movie. Going and seeing it in a theater on a midnight showing with the crazy people that go there and throw stuff at the screen. It is absolutely a must event that you have to do in your life at some point. And if you've never seen it, Matt, just wait until you can see a midnight showing of it somewhere and just go and experience the movie and the atmosphere, and you will understand why this has such a cult following. It is it's one of the most interactive movies I've ever been to a theater to see. So thumbs up on this one.
They also paid tribute to it in an episode of the Drew Carey Show.
Yeah.
And that 70's show. Fez dressing up as Dr.
Yeah.
Not to mention Glee.
Yeah. Yeah, I like John Stamos' version of Whatever Happened to Saturday Night. I really do. I think he nailed it.
But when talking about Tim Curry, I think we're all forgetting his most iconic role, and that's Nigel Thornberry.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say Captain Long John Silver.
I don't know. Home Alone 2 is up there. I love you.
And yet no one mentioned Clue. But anyway.
He did. He said it was his favorite.
Said it was his
favorite performance.
This just in. Malcolm doesn't listen to any of us. When we're off air, he's watching Lord of the Rings again. He's got it on the side.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought the Sandy says a different Tim Curry one. Never mind. Anyway, I'll edit that out in post, which I probably won't do. But anyway, Matt, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right. So there's a couple movies that I want to bring up, but there's one that I feel like needs to be on this list. I'm just afraid that I'm gonna have another idea. If I just leave it thinking someone's gonna bring it up, so I'm bringing it up. So in 1977, we already talked about Star Wars came out. It's incredible. It's great. But George Lucas's best friend also released a science fiction film in 1977 with a score by John Williams, and it is one of the greatest of all time. I'm talking, of course, about Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This movie is incredible. You guys talk about these Rocky Horror Picture Show showings. For the 40th anniversary in 2017, they re-released Close Encounters, and me and my parents and my brother went to go and see it. And I kid you not, watching the movie in the theater, I cried and I walked out being reminded why I was in college studying film. So this is an extremely important movie to me. It's just an incredible movie about discovery. You know, Richard Dreyfuss, I love the slow manicness of what's happening to him, to where at first, like, it's the shaving cream, to where he just sort of looks and he's like, right, does this look like anything? And then it just gets more and more manic until he figures out that it's Devil's Tower. And I love the whole thing of the unknown. You don't know what exactly is happening. You know, is he crazy? Is he not? The whole scene when they abduct Barry is one of the greatest scenes in a science fiction movie. I mean, just in movies in general, if you look at the Oscars or you look at any of these, you know, montages of movies, odds are the moment of Barry opening the door to the red light is in there, because this movie is just so incredible. When we talk about John Williams, that score and that main theme is some of his best work and so funny. Steven Spielberg talked about he was afraid that after Star Wars, John Williams wouldn't be able to bring him a score, and the man proved, he could do two giant, fantastic science fiction films in the same year. So Close Encounters of the Third Kind is my next nomination.
Yeah, this is one I was hoping to rewatch specifically for this, but I just didn't get around to it. But this is one that that after watching all the stuff that I hadn't seen before, it still managed to sit in my personal top 12, just because I really hadn't seen a lot of 70s sci-fi before, so it would have taken me to watch a lot for it to knock it out. And some of the ones I saw was just not good, but yeah, I'm going to give it a yes. And Sandy, what do you say about Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Okay, so I don't ever need to rewatch Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because I've watched it enough in my lifetime that I can practically quote the entire movie. This movie from start to finish is a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece of, like Matt said, of discovery, of Earth finally seeing that is something out there, and this something wants to talk to us. It wants to engage with us, and we have no idea how to do it. And they do it with music. Like, how amazing is that? Like, if you went up to anybody and went do 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 do, they would know exactly what you're talking about. It is exactly the score that movie needed. And Matt, I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. John Williams once again just kicks it out of the park. You know, he moves on to Raiders and more Star Wars and more Raiders, and it just continually reinvents what movie music should be like. He's just an absolute genius. But that's so important in this movie. The music is so important in this movie. It ebbs and flows like feelings, and you feel it every single time you watch it. You're just moving with the music, and understanding where everything's coming from. It is such a good movie, and it's like Spielberg. I mean, he goes off from Jaws to Close Encounters. Are you kidding me? Like what? No wonder he's one of the best iconic directors of all time. So Close Encounters, it was third on my list. So I agree 100%, hands down.
It was first on my list. If we're revealing lists,
I'm not going to reveal where it is on my list.
mine was like 12.
But yeah, for my remembers, I think there's only 3 movies of Spielberg's which John Williams didn't score. So, what do you say about Close Encounters?
No, I do agree with you guys. This does belong on there. I unfortunately have only seen it the one time, and it was about 5 years ago. But I agree with you. It with the music part, like that is a great way. I missed that. What did that say?
Oh, Eric's comment.
So
pull it back up again.
Oh, right on.
That's really awesome.
That's pretty cool.
It's like the only sign language I know.
That's a great stat, Eric. Thanks so much for that. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really
how
cool.
it should. That's how it should be in film school: is listening and learning from movies like this. Like that.
Sorry, Soda.
That's perfectly okay. Like I am a musician. I've been playing the saxophone for 23 years now. I'm in our local community band. I do all that stuff. So because of that, it definitely helped me gain an appreciation for this movie. It is about time I do a rewatch. I do have to admit that. But yeah, it's always been considered one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. When I saw it, I understood why. It's easily one of Richard Dreyfuss's best performances that I've seen, and this is a man who loves Mr. Holland's opus. So yeah, no, I agree. This is definitely belongs in the top 12 sci-fi movies of the 1970s.
So you're literally in my favorite prequel list right now for bringing up Mr. Holland's opus. As a teacher and a musician,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
And we can't forget, of course.
And yeah, American Graffiti.
73.
And of course, what about Bong?
Oh my God, he's everywhere.
But with that being said, it's up to me. And yeah, this is one that I didn't expect to love as much as I did, but it's another one that is comes from 1979. This one stars an actor who's probably more known for a role from the 60s. I'm bringing up Disney's The Black Hole, starring Anthony Perkins.
Malcolm, you screwed with me on this, man. You knew what you were doing.
I did know what I was doing. I actually had to Google just to make sure my joke was going to work.
So much.
But yeah, this is one that I didn't expect to love as much as I did. But this is just one that I came into and watched. I thought, this is really fun. Like there's some really clear like Star Wars inspiration. Like it clearly got some inspiration from Star Wars. And it's just one of those ones that I thought it was just a really fun science fiction movie, and it's just one of those ones like this gave me an excuse to watch a whole bunch of movies on Disney Plus, just because there's for me that's most of the 70s science fiction was that I could watch for free, and that they're on Disney Plus. But this is just a fun movie, and I think it doesn't get talked about as much. So I thought, well, I'll bring it up, see what happens. Sandy, what do you say about The Black Hole?
Giggity.
Okay, I'm so happy that Malcolm brought this movie up. I didn't think anybody else but me was going to bring this movie up. It made my top 12, so that's awesome. Exactly, Leo. That's a great point. Once again, if we're looking at the entire list of movies that we have so far, a lot of darkness. Other than Superman, there's a lot of darkness in
Star Wars.
these 70s. Star Wars? Nah, Star Wars
Rocky
is still
Horror.
pretty dark. Rocky Horror, yeah, but that's like I said, it's a little bit outside of the genre, but still inside the genre. But a lot of the movies that are in the 70s are darker, more dirty movies.
They're
right?
70s movies.
Exactly. And Black Hole follows that suit. It is a grungy movie. It is, I love it because it has some really awesome robots in it that just like stay in your head for all the time. This movie is fantastic. I'm gonna say yes to it just because I was gonna bring it up. It was one of the ones I was debating on whether or not to bring up or not. But so I'm gonna say yes to this movie because I still think it's a great science fiction movie from Disney, who went from la 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 to with this movie. So thumbs up for me.
Soda, what do you say about the black hole?
Well, I hope you watched it, Matt, because I have actually never seen the black hole.
Matt, what do you say about the black hole?
I've seen a black hole. NASA posted a picture about it on Twitter a couple, year or two ago. Black Hole, the movie? No. But it's on Disney Plus, so I'm sure I'll get around to it at some point.
Unfortunately, it doesn't make the list, but
Star Wars
at
is
least
streaming on there,
at least I put the it out so people will be aware of it. Sandy,
to be
what is
honest,
it?
it was on my list of movies I wanted to watch, but time just shrunk on me.
Yeah. But Sandy, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Sandy, your
You're
mic's down.
muted.
I'm going to get tons of heat for this. I guarantee it, and I don't care. I've recently rewatched it 3 times in the last month, and I am really, really excited to see what people say about this. But I'm going to bring up a movie that was a TV show, and it went away before its time, and yet the people argued and fought to have this brought back into movie form, and they did it. And regardless of what people think about this specific movie, it launched an absolute empire in movies, and that is the 1979 movie Star Trek, the motion picture. I get that people don't think it's exciting. It's boring. I get that. But the story itself, if you watch the movie for the movie and don't think about it as, okay, well, it's not Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Well, you're right. It wasn't released yet. So nobody had it. This movie, when it came out, people loved it. They went to the movies in droves to see it. That's why we got to start.
2.
Just because it came out and absolutely destroyed any myth that a sequel could earn more than the original. Yes, absolutely. Did the same thing that Superman 2 did. Superman 2 was a great sequel. But it's still the original, and it happened in the 70s, and it started a complete Star Trek movie kingdom. And I will say that I actually really like this movie because of what it is and because it's Star Trek. So that's what I'm going to nominate is Star Trek, the motion picture.
Soda, what do you say about Star Trek, the motion picture?
While it is not my favorite of the Star Trek movies, and I actually only saw this for the first time earlier this year, I do agree with you. It is one of the greater sci-fi movies of the 1970s. Mostly, for me, what makes it up there is the twist that it was what Sputnik the whole time. It was
Voyager 6.
Voyager. Yes, it was the Voyager. Why did I say Sputnik? It was the Voyager the whole time. No, this was a landmark in special effects at that time. I mean, it's the iconic crew of the Enterprise on the big screen. Where can it go wrong? The only thing I will say is, the establishing shots of the Enterprise, a little much, but that's about it.
But Matt, what do you say about Star Trek, the motion picture?
You can hear everything that I have to say on Star Trek the Motion Picture on Second Look, which the episode just dropped earlier this week. But here I'll just sort of concise, you can hear more of my thoughts. I think this movie is incredible. The score, which obviously the main theme they thought was so good when they brought Star Trek back to TV, they said, "Yep, let's just take that one." You brought up the cast. I have to give a shout out to and let me just make sure that I get their names right. Just give me one moment. Obviously, the original three coming back, they're incredible. They knew these roles like the back of their hand by this point. But I have to give credit to, and I'm going to Persis Kambata and Stephen Collins as Lieutenant Adley and Will Decker. They're so good. I think it's unfortunate they're one and done characters, but they're such great additions to the series, and they are the prototype for Will Riker and Deanna Troi. If you love Star Trek Next Generation, I know this movie, the slow motion picture. What this movie does that most Star Trek movies don't do is it poses a question to the audience, which is, what is your purpose? That is V'ger, the villain of the movie, has traveled to the ends of the universe and is returning to the Earth for one simple thing. It needs to merge with its creator because it needs to find out, what is my purpose? That's it. Kirk... Again, I get more into this in my second look episode, so I don't want to waste too much time here. It's just an incredible movie. It looks incredible. And you know what? Sandy, you think it's unpopular for saying this is one of your Star Trek movies, of which this is one of mine. I like the uniforms in this movie. Yeah, I said it. I like the uniforms in this film. They're one of my favorites.
That's brave.
Yeah, but with that, Star Trek the Motion Picture is going to make this list. I'm not a big fan. Look,
did you watch my episode?
I was interested. Look, I didn't grow up with Star Trek as you guys. My first experience into Star Trek is the Star Trek reboot that J.J. Abrams did in 2009. That was my introduction. I watched the first Star Trek movie for a reason when I was studying, but as I've said to Matt a few times, I haven't seen like any of the other classic Star Trek movies yet. I plan to eventually get to them.
You got Rocky to get through, okay?
I will eventually finish Rocky. As you know, I actually bought it on the collection on Blu-ray. But look, I mean, This is a lot of franchises I need to get through.
That's a Star Trek. I apologize for interrupting.
Anyway, this is just one of those ones. Like when I watch this, it's fine. I did find it just really boring. When I do eventually get a chance to actually go back to watch more, I might give this another shot.
A second look, perchance?
Maybe. But
and I have to just quickly say, if you have Paramount Plus, they just released the 4K edition of the director's cut, which is the superior cut of this movie. Go check it out. I saw it in the re-release. Chef's kiss. It looks beautiful.
This is the first I even knew there was a director's cut.
Which is the problems, a lot of the long shots and everything, they actually cut down in the director's cut. The pacing is a lot better, and they add scenes and moments. Like one of my favorite moments that's not in the original cut is right after Kirk has come back on the bridge and he leaves to find Decker. One of the aliens is like, Captain Decker has been with this ship since every moment, everything. He won't give up the ship. And Uhura is just like, Lieutenant, the chances of us coming back from this mission alive may have just doubled. I'm like, yeah, because Uhura knows what a badass Kirk is.
But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, Paramount Plus is launched in Australia. It just never launched here. I do not understand why. We're probably never going to get Paramount Plus. Is what I'm thinking.
You should write a strongly worded letter, put it on a flaming arrow, and shoot it towards us,
But anyway,
Legolas style.
anyway, so what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'm gonna go with another one that I only watched recently. It's funny, I watched the making of documentary of this entire series quite a bit before I actually sat down and watched the series. Oddly enough, but it is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I think it is a fun movie, very witty. The apes come off as incredibly charming. Plus, this is a great story about outsiders trying to fit in, and then how people can turn on you on a dime. And then plus the twist at the end that the baby survived and goes on to be Caesar. No, for me, it's the first one is the greatest, but if we're going the 70s ones, this is the one for me. It's Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Matt, what do you say about Escape from the Planet of the Apes?
So as Soda said, yeah, the original is like far and away the greatest one next to the Marky Mark version, which, let's be honest, feel it. No, I'm kidding. I just need to make a Funky Bunch reference. When it comes to this,
old enough to make a Funky Bunch reference.
I got good vibrations, so I feel like sure.
Right on.
When it comes to the sequels, they have interesting ideas, a lot of them, but I've never been the hugest fan of them. I think Escape is really good. Ricardo Montalban in another sci-fi classic series. I can't remember which one he's in. I think he's in Escape because doesn't Caesar get left with him? Isn't that the whole thing?
Yeah,
he gets left with him at the circus.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah. I haven't seen this in a while, so based off of that, I have to say no because I just haven't. I remember parts of it, but like with that, I get a lot of, except for Beneath, which the reason why I remember Beneath so much is because it's really connected with the first movie. I don't really remember the scene, and sometimes I'm just like, was that kind of close to Escape or what was that? So I'm sorry. I have to. It's good. Watch it. Especially if you've seen the newer ones, go watch the old ones because the first one's better.
Yeah,
I've never seen the newer ones.
Yeah, so when I knew I was doing this, I knew I hadn't seen any of these original Planet of the Apes. I thought the original one was fine. It wasn't pure by all means. It was a solid 3 stars for me. Yeah, the weird thing about Disney Plus for me is like we've got Planet of the Apes, but it's only the first one, Escape, and one other. 2 and 4 are not there.
That could be a studio thing. It could be someone owns the rights to tune.
I know. All I know is when it comes to the original Planet of the Apes, he's like, the only 2 that are missing is the second one and the fourth one. But Escape and Battle are there. But I really enjoyed Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I thought this was a really fun movie. And it's just one of those ones that I enjoyed. Out of the ones I've, it's out of the original series. I think this is the best one. I haven't seen, like as I said, I haven't seen 2 and 4, so they could change when I eventually get around to seeing those. But at this present time, Escape from the Planet of the Apes is one of my favorite ones I've seen out of this one. So it's an easy yes for me. Sandy, it's up to you. What do you say about Escape from the Planet of the Apes?
Well, considering I screwed up my original Planet of the Apes mention and wanted it to be on this list, I also enjoyed this movie. It's one of the better ones. It's one of the better sequels. And I like it how they tie everything in future-wise. But I do think that a version of the Planet of the Apes needs to be on this list. So if this is the one that I have to choose, which I am happy to do, I'm all right with this one. So yeah, absolutely. It's a fun movie to watch. And it's just it's another entry into a really good franchise that has some ups and some lows. But this one is definitely one of the up ones.
Yeah, I highly recommend the making of documentary that is narrated by Malcolm McDowell. It's pretty fun.
Is he any relation to Roddy McDowell?
I think so.
Or
Sorry.
as a certain Shimonan competitor would put Rowdy McDowell, but
Source story stops.
There was a country music artist named that, and I've always confused the two. My mom used to listen to him as a child.
Yeah. But Matt, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Oh, there's like 4 that I'm thinking of, and we have what 3 spots left? What do we got? 4. Maybe we'll get back around. Okay, one that I think needs to be on here, which I saw for the first time just this week for this list. I'm going with 1978. Just going to see how many people know which we're going to talk about just from this moment.
Yep. Great Canadian.
Talk about Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This movie is insanely good. Again, I knew very little about it before I watched it, and I'm really happy that I did because I just got to. This movie really gets you wrapped up really quick into it, and then you're really in it until literally the final moment. I don't want to say too much because I had such a good experience not knowing a lot. I will say the cast, you have Donald Sutherland, you have Jeff Goldblum, you have Leonard Nimoy. We're talking about Star Trek. He's in here. It's just an incredible movie, and people have seen will get this reference. That night, I did not want to go to sleep at all. I tried to stay up as late as I could. So yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers is my next nomination.
Yeah, I've seen multiple versions of this. I've not seen the 70s version of this. This is one I did try to find because Matt told me to watch it. But I just couldn't. It's not on Tubi for me. So yeah, I just couldn't find it. Sandy, what do you say about Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
I would love for these things to come try to invade my body and take over it. I would smash them, sit on them, squish them, do whatever it needs to take. That being said, Matt's looking at me all funny because he doesn't think I understand what's going on. He's right. I've never seen this movie. It's horror. I don't want it. I don't want to be involved in it. I don't want to wait. I don't want to be up at night and thinking about somebody coming in and swiping my body and using it for nefarious things. That's not my my genre. I can understand that a lot of people do enjoy this movie simply because it's been remade about 4 billion times. There's variations of this movie all over the place, and I love that. I love that a single movie, could expand and get other people to think about making movies about it. So I understand that it's a good movie. I've just never seen it, so I can't vote on this one.
To be fair, Sandy, I will say I'm like you with horror, and I really enjoyed this movie. So I would suggest
That's enough for me to give
watch it in bright daylight, and you'll be fine.
That's absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't mind them invading my body if they promised to help me lose weight. But
That's the case. If they were giant tapeworms that were taking over our body, I'd be all right. Come on in, buddy.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on
I'm sorry, Matt. I've never seen it either. Obviously familiar with it because of its impact on pop culture. Don't get me wrong. I just haven't sat down and watched it.
God damn it. No, my other picker, I don't get to bring it up. I'm pissed.
Well, I mean, the Gens will get back to Anti because there's still 4 spots, so you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually going to another one that was remade at least once. I'm going for the original, the Stepford Wives. This is another one that really does skirt the fine line between horror and sci-fi, and a similar thing to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is about them in this mysterious town of Stepford where women start somewhat they sort of just start disappearing. Then they get replaced with a synthetic android that's just their husband's ideal of a perfect woman, just staying home doing the cleaning and just completely changing their personality and stuff like that. This is one I'm not going to go too much into this because it's really
Twists and turns.
Twists and turns, and if you've not seen it, you should probably
It's
give
like
it a
me
shot.
with Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
And I'm one of those ones that I actually do quite like the remake that they did as well, because I think the remake, which also had Nicole Kidman, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, really? From Days of Thunder?
No, I'm pretty sure the remake of the Stepford Wives had Nicole Kidman. Which is funny because the remake of one of the remakes of Invasion of the Body Snatchers also had Nicole Kidman.
Oh, Jesus.
Interesting.
Nicole Kidman was the.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick was your husband.
Yeah.
Okay, in a sci-fi movie with alien stuff, I assume that's the most unbelievable thing there.
But yeah, Sandy, what do you say about the original Stepford Wives?
Never seen it. I'll be totally honest. I did watch the Nicole Kidman remake. Hated that. Didn't like it at all. I don't like Nicole Kidman. She can suck it. Except for Days of Thunder, Matt. Except for Days of Thunder. But you know what? Everybody has their own taste. I think this movie has been. I know enough about it just because of its pop culture references, all the time. But to be fair, I've never seen it, so I can't vote on it. Yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate male fantasy, right? Of having a woman that's going to be, dutiful and just, bow, and then all things turn bad. So,
the one thing I will also add is if you go through the cast list of the original Stepford Wives, there's actually no one of note in this movie.
Wow,
I was looking at these names, like I don't recognize any of these names.
Well, there's one. That's Catherine Ross. She was in The Graduate. That's the only one that I.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably.
We got one.
If you hadn't said that, I probably just by names, I probably wouldn't have recognized them. But now that you mention it, Soda, what do you say about the Stepford Wives original?
I also this is one of those movies I know all about from pop culture. I too have never seen it.
And Matt, have you seen the original Stepford Wives?
No.
With that, we move back to Sandy. Sandy, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
So now we're getting to niche markets here of movies, and mine is coming from one of my all-time favorite franchises. Even though it's some people's favorite franchise of all time, and they know every single bit of information about this. I do not, but I love this movie because it has my favorite of the character, and that is Moonraker from James Bond 007. My favorite James Bond, who is Roger Moore. Everybody's going to yell at me in the comments that Sean Connery is the greatest. Kiss my ass. Roger Moore is perfect in the role, and he's perfect for these type of movies because there's lots of action, there's lots of everything. How can you not like Moonraker? It's the first time we saw Jaws. Like, how iconic of a villain is Jaws. We also get Honey Goodhead. I mean, seriously, the names they pick for some of these Bond women are so hilarious that it just makes me laugh. But the movie itself is fantastic. It's in outer space. Anybody who wants to disagree with you, this is a sci-fi movie. Go look it up on IMDb. That's the exact title it has on there. And it was in the 70s. I checked that too after my miserable failure with Planet of the Apes. But I love this movie. I think it's great. It's a really, really cool story as well. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's one of the best Roger Moore movies out there, because there are some less than awesome Roger Moore ones in there. View to a Kill, still one of my favorites, but people laugh at it all the time. Was he Leo? That's a great thing. I did not know that. So there's another tip that I get from not researching properly in movies. But awesome. Jaws is still awesome, no matter where he started or where he was. He was in this movie, and he was a great villain in it. So Moonraker, I believe it's 77,
78, I believe, because they
70, 79.
They made it originally For Your Eyes Only was supposed to be the next Bond movie, and then Star Wars came out, and they were like, "Hey, Ian Fleming write any sci-fi Bond movie? Oh, Moonraker, yeah, let's do that one."
Something that I'm learning from this is like so many great sci-fi movies came out in 1979.
Yeah, because Star Wars came out in 77, and everyone went, "We need sci-fi movies. Let's make them." Guys.
It was the moment the dam burst.
Also, correction to Leo. The first time we met Jaws was in 1975 in a small movie called Jaws.
Yeah. Well, actually, technically, he's just the shark. He has no name, just the shark.
Technically, he actually does have a name, and that name is Bruce.
That was behind the scenes, never said in the movie.
But anyway,
Richard Dreyfuss and Roy Scheider going, "Look, it's Bruce.
Hey guys,
you got to get a bigger boat. Bruce is coming now."
The special edition Jaws 1.
Bruce is coming.
But anyway, Soda, what do you say about Moonraker?
So I've only seen this once, and I did enjoy it, and I'm going to give it a yes, mostly because it's probably the most parodied one in Austin Powers. There's a lot of this in Austin Powers, so for that, it's definitely getting on the list for me.
Matt, what do you say about Moonraker?
No, look, Roger was perfectly fine in the role, but of course, I made the role what it was, and I gotta be honest with you, Roger was a bit of a pussy. So I have seen Moonraker, of course. I have not seen it in a hot minute. How many spots do we have left?
4.
I'm going to have to just say no, just based on the fact that I haven't seen it in a while, and I'm revisiting all the Roger Moore movies for many of mine's James Bond retrospective that we're working on. And I'm saying no mostly just because I've watched some of Roger Moore's films. Not some of my favorites. So it's possible Moonraker. It's not one of my favorites.
Yeah. The only thing I really know about Moonraker is just like Soda is from Austin Powers. Unfortunately, this is just one of those ones. I'm not sure if I've seen Moonraker or not. I'm eventually going to start going through all of Bond from the beginning, just and either watching them for the first time or rewatch them, because just like Star Trek, a lot of the earlier Bonds I'm very spotty on. Whether I've seen it or not, I've seen a lot of the newer ones from the later part of Brosnan onto Craig.
Craig sucks. Oh, so sorry.
I'm actually a fan of Dalton myself.
Stay tuned for the episode after the Roger Moore one for that, man.
But I mean, you're at the Lazenby, which had a lot of good movies.
Oh, yes. Yes. Some would say he's the longest staying Bond.
But anyway, moving on. Unfortunately, Moonraker is not making this list. And I think we're on Soda to bring up, or did you? Yeah, Soda.
So this one, at first thought you'll probably be like, that's not science fiction, but actually, technically, it is. It is dystopian. It's a dystopian crime film. It's probably one of the most iconic films of the 1970s. It's considered one of the best movies from Stanley Kubrick. It is A Clockwork Orange. It's actually the only Stanley Kubrick movie I have seen start to finish. When I was in high school, actually, and this movie, like, I cannot hear Singing in the Rain anymore and not think of Alex DeLarge. this movie is just so insane, but it's also so it provides such a great commentary on violence and what have you. And yeah, it's an amazing movie. It's not one I revisit often, but it's definitely one that has stayed with me for a long time. One of Stanley Kubrick's, like I said, one of his best works. So mine is A Clockwork Orange.
Matt, what do you say about A Clockwork Orange?
I admit here fully on camera that I have never seen A Clockwork Orange.
This is going to be one of the bigger ones people are going to be talking about, because I also have not seen A Clockwork Orange. I've seen the poster.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Yeah,
but
I've seen the meme.
But Sandy, what you have said about A Clockwork Orange?
Okay, full transparency. I hate this movie. I don't like it. I don't like watching it. A lot of it is just very. It's just there's a lot of close one eye moments in that movie. But as somebody who studies movies, I can appreciate the filmmaker who made this movie and the movie for itself.
Mm-hmm.
If I go through it as just a plain decision on the movie itself, this movie has, if you just take its pop culture references in other movies, that's why it is so huge. I would give this movie a yes because of its place in movie history and what it brought to other movies, because of its longevity and its difficult subject matter, but still a very good movie. If you're studying movies, if you're looking for a movie that you like and you want to enjoy this movie, I'm going to say watch it, but yikes. So it's a yes for me based on the film, and I have seen it, but yeah, unfortunately you guys haven't. So
Roger Deere gives the film 5 stars. Says great film. Sandy Robinson. Yeet.
Look, this is one I tried to find for like there's a couple of movies that I knew were going to come up and that I tried to find that I just couldn't find it anywhere, and I didn't really want to go look up illegal ways just straight away. I would have done if I was really desperate and I had time to actually watch something, but yeah. But Matt, we move over.
I'm opposed to pirating unless I'm super desperate. Then pirating's okay, guys.
Yeah, only if there's movies I can't find.
Yeah.
It was so funny how you started off as an anti-pirate message, but then at the very end you're like, well, unless I can't find them, then I have time. Yeah, sure, I'll pirate it. That's fine.
I mean, there's some movies that just aren't on physical media.
You wouldn't steal a car.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rob from a store.
Anyway, so Matt, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Okay. You know what? I'll bring it up. Not sure what it's going to get here, but I'm going back to our favorite year on this panel, which is 1979. We're talking about franchises. Well, 1979. A little film about a streetcar racing police officer came out that spawned a franchise that still is impressing audiences to this day. And that is, of course, Mad Max, the original, the first. And it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's great. We talked about dystopian futures. This movie is a dystopian future. But what I like is that there's still a bit of order to it, obviously, but it's like extreme order. Just look at who their police captain is. And yeah, obviously, what I love so much about this is most people know Max from Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome, but it all starts with this character, and he is a family man. He's a police officer. He loves his family and his friends, but the things that happen to him, he's just pushed to a point. Toe Cutter pushes him to a point, and he becomes Mad Max. I love the look of this movie. I know it's low budget, but just George Miller is just George Miller is just whatever budget you give George Miller, he's going to give you the best movie on that budget. And he had a small budget here, but it looks great. Yes, okay. Some of the action scenes do have that artificial speed up, but I think even in that, he was able to work it in. It's a great looking movie. Who doesn't want Max's car from the end of this movie? Who doesn't want that car? Yeah, so the original Mad Max is my next nomination.
Yeah, I've seen Mad Max Fury Road. I haven't seen the original trilogy of it. And I've seen Mad Max Fury Road. I've just been putting off going back there because I didn't like Fury Road.
Eric is a smart man right there.
But Sandy, what do you say about the original Mad Max?
What do I say about it? I say, give me a car with spikes all over it. Let me get a spring-loaded flapjack flipper that I can put on there to smack people with. This movie was what we built Lego about, when we were kids. We made these cars that were just completely out of the wall and that would run over everything and just destroy. This is what we dreamed of. So when a movie came out where people were driving around smacking people with their cars, I mean, how good is that going to be? I mean, we don't even have to bring up the person who stars in this movie, because I know a lot of people have an issue with, him, on a personal level, and that's fine. But back then, he was, wow. Wow. This movie is just so in your face and around it. And yeah, a lot of people miss the fact that there's a family element to this show, to this movie. There's a person that's at the front of this that is, trying to defend a world that doesn't want to be defended anymore. And it is I think it's a very important movie. And I am with Malcolm. I did not like Fury Road at all. I didn't like it.
Thank you.
But I can say, and I watched it 3 times because people kept on telling me to go back and watch it. So I watched it 3 times. Still sucks. It's not good. The first 2 Mad Max movies are fantastic. They're just fantastic. They're great action. They're great stories. I couldn't give this more of a thumbs up if I had multiple, 5 or 6 thumbs. I had to say 5 or 6 because when I said multiple thumbs, people would say "Hey, where's his other thumb?" But so I give this a thumbs up.
So it's on you. What do you say about Mad Max?
I agree with everything everyone says. And what's funny about this movie kind of reminds me of the Rocky series in a way, where Mad Max is like this warrior with the bike with the spikes and all this stuff and that's open, but then you watch the first movie and it's not that. It's more of this intimate tale about a man who's lost everything and is out for revenge. No, it's great. I'm with you. It's up there. It's on the list.
Talk as well, but Mad Max has made something has made
as
the
villain
list
of the
again.
entire Mad Max series. Yeah. And I was afraid. I thought everyone would be like, let's see a good Mad Max movie that exists. I was waiting for that. I was like, yeah.
All right. It's on me now. And I'm going to bring up one now. I don't know how this is going to go, but before the certain person was attacked by the Thing, he was a teenage kid doing lab experiments. I'm bringing up, of course, I'm talking about Kurt Russell. The strongest man. Look, as I said, Disney Plus had the most 70s sci-fi for me, so that's most of what I watched this week. The strongest man in the world. Strongest man in the world is an entertaining one. Well, yes, this is a really on the lower end of sci-fi, but it's still class as sci-fi. I even checked it. It's just one of those ones that basically this kid gets is doing experiments and then gets hit with it and becomes a really strong kid. It's just a lot of fun. This is either second or third of the Dexter Riley trilogy that with Kurt Russell in this. But and like
It's the
it's
second.
yeah, this is why when we did the classic movies into superheroes, I said young Kurt Russell could easily be Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and it's just one of those ones that I think is really entertaining. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. But Sandy, what do you say about Kurt Russell and the strongest man in the world?
Okay, I'm so happy that you brought this up. I mean, the computer wore tennis shoes and the Shaggy DA are two of the best Kurt Russell Disney movies ever made, and they still hold up today. They're fun to watch. They're great. This is another one of them. Everything that could possibly happen to a college kid happens to poor Kurt Russell. He gets smacked around with everything in this in his life with Disney, and this is another one. He becomes the strongest man in the world. How cool is that? What guy, what person, what anybody that loves superhero movies doesn't want this to happen to them at some point in life? We all want to get hit with nuclear goo or, bitten by a radioactive spider or anything like that, just in the off chance we might become a superhero. And this is exactly what happens. Honestly, I didn't even have this on my list. It's not even close to my list, but you know what? I like that Malcolm brought it up, and I like Kurt Russell. I'm telling you right now, the Kurt Russell movie that should be on here, and it should have been done in the late 70s, was Escape from New York. But unfortunately, it wasn't. It was in the 80s, and guess what? This one is just as good an entry because it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's a great family flick, but it's also got some really, really cool adult stuff in it too. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up from me.
I actually remember the 80s one. Was Escape from New York actually brought up? Because it didn't make the final list for the 80s sci-fi.
I cannot believe that.
The thing did.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah, the thing game. The thing game.
Fun fact, the thing was filmed 4 hours from where I live.
Yeah. Yes.
Escape from New
No.
York was filmed 2 hours from where I live.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Only one part of it, though. Not really. It was
But yeah,
mostly
I mean,
filmed
I don't know why Escape from I can't remember off my head why Escape from New York didn't make our 80s sci-fi list, but
because everyone likes to watch me cry. That's why.
No, anyways, for me, I haven't seen this since I was a kid, so I'm gonna go based off of my memories, and I really enjoyed it. Kurt Russell, I do remember thinking like this dude was awesome. This is the dude from Tango and Cash, really? Yes, I saw Tango and Cash at that young. No, for me, I'm gonna throw that on there just because it made Kurt Russell a household name, and it's just so much fun, and he's as charming as ever. So I'm gonna go based off of my memories. It's on the list.
Matt, what would you have said about the strongest man in the world?
I don't know. I think Kurt Russell's a bit of a hack. He's a terrible actor. No good whatsoever. He done what qualities has he ever brought to film? That's if I was body snatched, I'd be saying that. Yeah, it's Kurt Russell. He's great. It's young Kurt Russell. It's basically a comic book movie without being based on a comic book. Yeah. This is just I think you guys have said it. It's okay. Is it like the most mind-bending, breaking sci-fi film of the 70s? No, but it's a Disney family film, and it's a ton of fun. And like Malcolm said, if they were doing a Spider-Man movie in the 70s after this film, which technically they did, but we don't talk about that. Kurt Russell probably should have been at the top of the list to play Peter Parker because of this movie. So yeah, this would have gotten a yes from me as well.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm low-key surprised it made the list because that was just one of the ones I was like, I'm gonna throw one of these out. I don't think they're going to maybe come up, but Sandy was the next movie going to bring it up. 2 spots left.
I don't know how this is gonna come over. I just don't know because I don't know how many of you guys have watched this, but I'm gonna throw it out there because I told everybody that I would when Malcolm brought up Death Race 2000 as another dystopian future that we all are going to experience at some point in time because they say we're supposed to in the future. And it is It is a game show, actually, and it is run by corporations who now run the world. And this is the game show that everybody watches. And it is great because it is one of James Caan's best performances, as far as I'm concerned. And it is Rollerball, the original Rollerball, not the Chris Klein LL Cool J version.
Produced by WWE, partially, I think.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you're right. But the original version is great. It's about a bunch of people who literally, it is like Death Race 2000 on roller skates. They run around a track trying to throw a ball into a cylinder and smack each other around as much as they possibly can while they're trying to do that. Eventually, the star, James Caan, his character, comes out and he doesn't want to do this anymore and he tries to get out, but because he's their biggest star, they don't want that to happen. So they do everything in their power, including killing some of his buddies, to keep him scared enough to keep playing the game. So I'm not going to ruin everything else for you guys. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's pretty good. If you don't want to watch something that's got like a little bit of grittiness to it, you can always watch the Chris Klein version. It's practically the same movie with worse actors. But yeah, Rollerball is going to be my pick for the next movie on the list.
Soda, have you seen Rollerball and what?
Yes, I have seen Rollerball. I've only seen it, I think, twice. It's been a while, but no, I agree. Like, this is one of those movies. Like, it's one of those. I love it just because it is what it is, and it's apologetic. And I love James Caan. May he rest in peace. So yeah, it's been one of those for me.
Matt, what do you say about Rollerball?
Unfortunately, I've not seen Rollerball, but since the unfortunate passing of James Caan, this is a movie that has been brought up to me a couple times. I just didn't. I didn't really have a lot of time to watch a lot of movies before this. This was on my list, and I will definitely be checking it out because it's 70's James Caan. Based off of that, it's good.
Yeah, same reason as Matt. Like, I haven't got around to seeing Rollerball. This is one I was hoping to get to try and find, but I just once again couldn't find it anywhere. And I just didn't have time to watch it. But with that being said, it doesn't matter. Liz, Soda, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
So this is one that, like, another one I've only seen the one time, but luckily this one was more recently. It's from 1973. It is another example of films talking about real life issues, and this one has police procedural and what have you, greenhouse effect and pollution and poverty. It is Soylent Green. This movie is one of Charlton Heston's better roles, and also it is one that everybody knows. You know, the food, people. What is it? The food is people are the food. Like, everyone as who hears that kind of knows that it's Soylent Green if you're a film fan. So, no, for me that's why it's on the list. It's one of Charlton Heston's better movies. It is a great commentary on real life issues, and for me it still holds up.
Matt, what do you say about Soylent Green?
So I saw this movie for the first time yesterday. I'm going to be honest. This movie hit very close to home for me because it takes place in the far-off year of 2022. Charlton Heston is a New York City detective, and he's talking about a horrible heat wave that is going through New York. There is literally a horrible heat wave going through New York. So, yeah, when I ate a burger last night, I was like, yeah, it's unfortunate that that moment, the last moment of the movie, is such a famous moment in pop culture because I knew it when I was watching the movie, which it was still a great movie. I just wish, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I didn't know that because I think I would have liked the movie just that much more if I was able to experience the twist, like you should experience the twist. But yeah, it's a great dystopian future. I think Heston's one of my favorite actors. He's always good. That's why in Wayne's World 2, they substitute the guy at the auto shop for Charlton Heston because he's just a great actor no matter what. Yeah, and I think what I also love is, and this just shows the difference movie in the 70s making one today, to show overpopulation in the apartments, they literally just got tons of actors to just lay on top of each other, and Heston just has to climb over them. And I loved that. I'm like, you know what? Because today it just would have been all CGI people. Yeah, it's gritty. It grips you in really fast, and I think it's wonderful. So yeah, Soylent Green gets a yes from me. Yes. Too close. Too close to home.
Like once again. This is another one. This is the other one I was referencing when Clockwork Orange came up. This is the other one I was hoping to track down to watch because I knew it was going to come up, but unfortunately I haven't got around to it. But which means it falls on Sandy. Sandy, what do you say about Soylent Green?
Yeah, I've been looking at the chat in on the YouTube, and I'm really really sorry here, Eric, but I have to be the guy that says I love this movie. I think that it's very underrated as a dystopian future movie. You're right. Charlton Heston is great in this movie. I bet you all thought I hadn't seen it. Suck it. But I have seen it, and I've seen it multiple times. So I love the pacing of this movie. The pacing of this movie is pretty real. It's pretty fast too, especially once you hit the halfway point of the movie, it really starts cooking after that. And it's truthful. I mean, we're about to with everything that's going on in the world right now. I mean, yeah, we're all boiling under the heat. Food is so expensive now that people have to choose between food and rent. You know what? Some of the directors in the 70s had some good future telling in their writing. So for me, I'm going to give this one a big thumbs up. It's very underrated, and it should be watched by more people.
But yeah. With that, Soylent Green does make this list. Matt, we've got one spot left. What are you going to bring up?
I'm really happy because I was going to for Eric, and I'm really happy that not just me had seen the film. I was feeling so bad because I'm like, I just saw the movie for the first time. There are other movies that I've seen before. So now this allows me to bring up another movie I watched for the first time earlier this week for this list. It is a movie that some people considered ushered in sci-fi right before Star Wars. In fact, a year before, Run, Runner, Run. I'm talking about 1976's Logan's Run. This movie is great. We talk about, dystopian futures. This is the opposite. This is the utopian future. This is everything is perfect. Logan 5 is a Sandman, and he's a Sandman. Which essentially the whole thing is, in this future, when you're 30 years old, you die. And if you try to run, the Sandman come and they kill you. But Logan is sort of sent on this journey to sort of find sanctuary, whatever that is. And what he finds is sanctuary, but in a different way. I think this movie, again, I watched it for the first time. It is brilliant. The music, the score to this movie is fantastic. I love the production design. And it's funny, I watched this movie on HBO Max, and they had like a TCM thing right before, like a 2-minute thing with Alicia from AMC Movie Talk. It was like, oh, that's awesome to see she's on TCM now. And they talked about how they shot this movie in Dallas in ultra modern buildings. It has an incredible look to it, and I like the fact that this is, we've talked about on this list, there's a lot of the dystopian futures. I like how this is the utopian future, but in a lot of ways, and that's what the movie is about, is that's actually scarier. The utopian future is a lot scarier than dystopian, because the utopian future is actually dystopian we're just, everyone's just oblivious to it. So yeah, this movie's fantastic, and I really think it deserves a final spot on this list.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure unless they parodied something else, I'm pretty sure Simpsons did a parody of Logan's Run at some stage.
Probably they parody everything.
Yeah, no, the
Robert Meyer Burnett's Free Enterprise parodies Logan's Run
but
in a great scene.
But I haven't seen I haven't seen this. Once again, this is another one I wanted to watch, and it was on Netflix briefly until the week I decided this episode came up, and then it just wasn't there anymore.
Run.
Which is the story of my life. It's always on Netflix until it's not, until I need it.
Yay for physical media.
I mean, once again, I'm one of those ones. I don't like buying physical media unless I've seen the movie, but just because
Malcolm's library only has copies of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbits. They stock nothing else.
Not sure. I've got Harry Potter. But
yes, of course. I forgot.
Anyway, Sandy, what do you say about Logan's Run?
All right, so this was the last pick that I had that I was going to bring up. I'm happy that Matt brought it up. Logan's Run is awesome. The whole movie's awesome. It is exactly the opposite of everything that the 70s sci-fi genre gave us, which was dirty, gritty, tragic in a lot of ways. This just thumbs its nose at that entire decade and says, nah, we're going to make something clean. We're going to make something crisp. We're going to make something that is going to be great. And then the second half of the movie hits, and you're like, okay, I get where this is going now. You guys have said it before. This has been parodied so many times. It's been remade. Ewan McGregor did this called The Island, from Michael Bay. This is that is not as good.
And wasn't there a version with Justin Timberlake as well?
What?
About something time?
Yeah, In Time.
About Time.
No, I think it's In Time.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Oh, yeah.
And sort of, they have a certain amount of life points that they have, and when they use them up, they die. But David Ogden Sears was in an episode of Star Trek where this was Star Trek: The Next Generation, where at a certain age, this entire population, they just wander and walk into a zapper, and you're dead. So it's had a huge impact on sci-fi throughout movies and TV, and it's a good movie. Like, it's a good, entertaining movie. It even holds up nowadays. So I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna say yes to this movie, hands down.
Soda, what do you say about?
I've never seen it. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, it's not going to make the list.
Renew.
I'm not gonna lie, I jumped the gun thinking, oh yeah, it's going to make the list. Surely so to see it. So I had it written down on the paper.
I thought you had seen it as well, Malcolm. So
yeah.
I was like, okay,
you maniacs! You blew it up. F you on hell.
But with that being said, I'm going to go for another one that I watched for the first time. That's another one that I'm not too sure if it's been remade or if it's just a really late sequel to The Rock. But it's the original Race to Rich Mountain.
Yeah, it was remade with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
No, as I said, I wasn't sure if that was a remake or if it was just a continuum. But
yeah, it was a remake.
Yeah, but this original one was just a really good movie. Like, it was basically about actually, I think it's the original. Yeah, it's right. No, the original was Escape to Rich Mountain. The Rock one was called Race to Witch Mountain, which is where my confusion got. But Escape to Witch
I don't
Mountain,
escape anywhere. I race places.
like this is one of those ones that is a lot of fun. Like it's about these siblings, Tony and Terry, who are orphans, where they face difficulties from they've got psychic powers and all that, and it's one of those ones that is really interesting, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's got Donald Pleasance is in this. It's got Ray Milland in it.
Eddie Albert.
Yeah, Eddie Albert as well. Who once again I don't recognise by name. But anyway, Sandy, what do you say about Escape to Witch Mountain?
All right, when I was a kid, all these Disney movies that came out, I really enjoyed because they were good entertainment, good wholesome, down to earth entertainment. Nothing drastic was going to happen. Maybe somebody died, but that was fine. I actually was a bigger fan of the remake than I was of the original. And I know I'm going to take heat on that, but you know what? So for that reason that I liked another version of this one, I'm going to say no to this particular version of it, just because I don't think I know it is, but it's too clean for me in this genre. So for that reason, I'm going to say no.
Soda, what do you say about Escape to Witch
This is
Mountain?
another one I'm relying on my memories of it as a kid. So I'm going to say yes, because I remember this movie. It definitely enchanted me when I was a child. So yeah, I'm going to say it belongs on there.
And Matt, what do you say about Escape to Witch Mountain?
So I have seen the remake with The Rock, which was a movie I used to rent from the library all the time. I really loved it. I know of this movie because my favorite episode of Smodcast from Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier, they referenced this in Harry Scotter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. They referenced this so much. And when you talk about all I was thinking of, it's Eddie Albert. We're witches. But I've never seen this movie, and honestly, I think I'll just revisit the Rock ones since I have some nostalgia for it, or I'll just listen to my favorite episode of the Smodcast where Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier talk about it. We're witches. Why didn't they call it Escape from Martian Mountain? Are they like Martians? That's gay. Witches is cool.
But yeah,
Smith has ruined movies for me in some ways.
But apparently there's a going to be a Witch Mountain series for Disney Plus coming at some stage, but nothing much has been said on it.
Freaking course! They're just like, hey, do you like that? We'll make a show about it.
At the moment, well, I mean, the last bit. I mean, there's a series of books anyway, but last thing I saw on that thing was it was greenlit in 2021, but nothing much has really been said about that. So who knows when that's eventually going to happen? But anyway, with that being said, Sandy, we go back to you.
Listen, you guys.
It always happens in the best moments.
Good timing.
Always.
Fucking hell. Seriously,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
like 11:10 here.
Good night.
Stupid internet. All right. Listen, I didn't want to put this on here because I thought there was going to be too much argument about it, but we are at the end of what we can find for movies here when Malcolm is bringing up Escape to Witch Mountain. So here's the movie that I'm going to nominate. 1974. We'd had movies from this being before, but this was his greatest fight and has been remade very recently as his greatest fight. And in both times, he was successful, but this was the first time, and it is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. and that is in 1974. It was probably released earlier in Japan, but I don't care. It was released here, and Matthew just turned off his camera because he's probably never seen Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, which is a tragedy, Matt. But that is what how the humans, they make a giant Mechagodzilla. Like, it's the exact same except that it's metal and it shoots lasers and rockets out of its fingers. It's the greatest enemy that Godzilla could face, and it was, when you watch it for the first time, you're like, you don't even care that the dude is in a rubber suit just going as he's jumping around. You know what? We have an entire 50,000 seasons of Power Rangers with the same thing. So guess what? It's still good. So I'm voting for Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla as my hopefully final entry onto this amazing show.
Soda, what do you say about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla?
Never seen it, unfortunately.
Matt, I'm not sure if you were there, but have you seen it?
Yes.
I'm just gonna say, yeah, I saw it. It's awesome. Sandy's right.
Look, I was already to hope someone else had seen this and was going to say yes to it, and just say yes, even though I haven't seen it. But unfortunately, even I can't help but get on this list. So here we go to you for your next nomination.
I'm actually surprised nobody's brought this up, but it's Battlestar Galactica. Yes, it was different. Yeah, it was theatrically released, just like we had with Buck Rogers. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't arguing with you.
No. I was trying to read Sandy's lips. No, this is basically the poor man's Star Wars. And it is responsible for basically planting the seeds for one of the most beloved sci-fi series of all time. It introduced to us things that we know, like the Cylons and what have you. So, no, for that, and I'm again surprised it wasn't on the list, but I guess nobody knew that it was a movie. Battlestar Galactica.
Matt, what do you say about first of all, have you seen Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla? And then what do you say about the Battlestar Galactica movie?
Everyone's gonna kill me because the only Godzilla movie I've ever seen is the one with Matthew Broderick.
I love that movie unapologetically.
Jean Rene,
100% with Soda.
Awesome.
I love that movie.
He's
awesome.
So
good.
I watched that movie for him, not for Broderick. Tell me, what did you see?
Yeah.
Ochima. Okay, but Kurt Russell is going to be in some Apple TV Plus series, so I guess I'll see two Godzilla things.
White Russell's also going to be in that.
The lesser of the Russells. Battlestar Galactica. If we can't get Buck Rogers on here, let's get Battlestar Galactica on here. Very short-lived, but great nonetheless. I mean, you got Face from A-Team in a sci-fi thing as Starbuck, which, yes, for those of you who love the early aughts series with Katie Sackhoff, Starbuck originally a man. You want to talk about Rollerball? There's an episode where they play a game very similar, which I'm pretty certain they probably just ripped off Rollerball when they made that episode. But yeah, I love Battlestar Galactica. I think it's great. Just simple stuff like I love the military uniforms. It's one of my favorite like science fiction like military uniforms. Is like obviously Star Trek Wrath of Khan has the best, but like Battlestar Galactica. The 78 series. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a yes. You know, Buck Rogers. Sorry. Cough.
Yeah. So after sort of looking this up, is like I know this came up on my list as when I was looking up 70s sci-fi movies before. I believe this is a re-edit of the pilot episode that they made into a movie, similar to what they did with the Clone Wars one. but from what I've heard about it, they did this first and did it better than what they did with Clone Wars. Although Clone Wars is a great watch along that we've got on this channel. Kristen's going to murder us for bringing that up. But I haven't seen this, but just for wanting to get this list done, I'm going to say yes.
Nice.
Just that, and I don't think all the other Disney ones I watched this week are probably going to get anywhere near.
Malcolm's like, screw whatever Matt was going to nominate next.
Unless everyone out here is a really big fan of the Cat from Outer Space. Sandy, what do you say about Battlestar Galactica?
Okay, so I didn't know, once again, I knew that the Buck Rogers one got split up and it was originally theatrical, but I didn't know that this one had been. So this kicks ass for me. It is 100% yes. I love Battlestar Galactica. I've always loved Battlestar Galactica, even above X-Wings and TIE Fighters. I thought Vipers were one of the coolest looking ships, and they were deadly. They were fast, maneuverable, and they had weaponry on them that were so kick-ass. I used to have this really cool toy, Battlestar Galactica. It was a Battlestar with a trigger on the bottom of it. So you held it, and you put the Viper squishy, like a foam Viper in, and you pull the trigger, and it went shooting out. So you could literally shoot Vipers at your brother or sister and get away with it because it was a fun toy. I absolutely love Battlestar Galactica, from Dirk Benedict being Starbuck to Richard Hatch, Apollo, Lauren Green, who everybody knew from Gunsmoke. Was
no.
it
Gunsmoke? It was Gunsmoke, sorry.
Yeah. So
yes.
He came, and then he was Wild Kingdom guy for a while.
No,
on
Bonanza.
Disney.
Bonanza. He was on Bonanza. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's right. It is. Okay,
yeah.
So I think it's Bonanza. You're right. So he was on one of those shows, and that's where he became famous. So now as the elder statesman, white hair, he's of course, Commander Adama. I mean, who else could be in that role? It's just not possible. So I love everything about this. People can say whatever they want about the series. I love the series too. I thought it had a lot of action. It had a lot of cool places to go. Cylons are awesome. But I mean, like, seriously, they're as dumb as stormtroopers. They can't hit anything. They just wander around. But you know what? For everything that this movie is and what the series turned out to be and what it produced later on, with like you said, the Katie Sackhoff series and beyond, that has been phenomenal TV for a really, really long time. So absolutely 100% yes, that this is on the list.
That does close off the list. Just to recap what we've got on this list, we've got Star Wars, Superman, Diff Race 2000, Alien, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Mad Max, Strongest Man in the World, Soylent Green, and Battlestar Galactica. Now we get to the fun part where we get to rank them, and how we rank these is we all vote on what we want at 12, 11, and so on by writing on a whiteboard or any bit of paper you've got handy. But first, I'll go to honorable mentions. Matt, what did you have as honorable mentions?
Honestly, thank God Battlestar Galactica got picked, because I was literally down to the last two movies that I had on my list, which was Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which I really only like because I really adore the ending of the movie. I think that is awesome, and the final narration. Also, it's the only one of the sequels that Heston came back for, so it gets props for that, even though he's only in some flashbacks and then yeah, but it's Heston, so like I said, they made a monkey out of me, I guess.
They really did. He was Dr. Zaius in the remake.
Chimpanzee.
I love that episode. And then the final one was a movie I watched yesterday for the first time from one of my, one of my favorite directors, George Lucas. I watched his first film, THX 1138, which was not my favorite, but I really enjoyed, and I think visually it was really stunning. I think Lucas really, for a first film, really did a great job, and I would really suggest really suggest that people check out THX 1138. Donald Pleasance is in that as well, and Robert Duvall.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as I said earlier, like the other ones that I've sort of saw, $1 Million Duck, Cat from Outer Space, which I look, I may have joked about them. I don't really think they would have made the list, but they are enjoyable to watch. I had Battle for the Planet of the Apes, there, and one that I didn't really like that much. Slaughterhouse-5 is another one that I sort of watched for the first time. That just, I just didn't get into it. But Sandy, do you have in your honorable mentions?
So I had two that didn't get used up during this episode. Matt just took my first one. THX 1198 is or 1138 is great. So that's a good one. So the last one that I had as an honorable mention, and I mostly do because like the series has really captured a lot of people's imagination and continues to be a really, really good series for people that enjoy it. But I'm going to say Westworld. Everybody forgets that it was a movie to start off with.
Yeah, I've never seen it. The original Jurassic Park.
It really is a lot, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a very interesting movie. And I'll leave it at that, because if you say anything, you practically ruin it for anybody. So just go watch.
Spoiler, but Sandy, Robert Shaw in there, or am I thinking of something else?
Let me just look up for it. Let me look up for a second here.
But so do what honorable mentions do you have?
I actually didn't have any because I was literally pulling out of my butt. Just like, what have I seen? Okay.
The last ones that we and in the chat, we've got some that have been brought up that haven't been talked about. Silent Running.
I wanted to watch it, but I wasn't able to.
Zardos, a really early Sean Connery movie.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen pictures of Sean Connery in it.
A Buena's Dog, the Omega Man. And Eric does mention that the sequel to Westworld, Futureworld, is dull.
Okay. All right, so I'll stay. I haven't seen this series either. Yul Brynner, that's probably one thing I haven't said. Robert Shaw.
Yul Brynner, James Brolin, Richard Benjamin.
Okay, that's Yul Brynner. I think is probably the person.
Michelle Barrett, by the way, before she was Roddenberry.
Yes, James Brolin, Thanos' dad. But
no, the Westworld. I remember the VHS cover frightened me because it's Yul Brynner removing his face. So when you're like 4 years old and you see that, it scares the crap out of you.
But with that being said, now time to put this list in some kind of order. Sandy, what do you have for 12?
For 12. All right. I am going to pick The Strongest Man in the World for my 12.
Soda, what do you have for 12?
I too will have that as my number 12 because it's probably the one that's the longest since I've seen.
Matt, what do you have for 12?
I don't think this is a bad movie, but I've not seen all the movies on this list. All the ones I have seen, this is my least favorite. I've Escaped from the Planet Apes.
I put Star Trek the Motion Picture, but The Strongest Man in the World. I mean, it was no secret that
I'm kidding. I saw an opportunity for a joke.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I did say that wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, you're fine. You're okay. You haven't watched my episode yet. It's fine. You're all right. When you watch my episode, you'll be like, "Oh, this is the greatest Star Trek movie ever made." By the way, you guys can find that and tons of other great episodes on underrated or under talked about movies right here. You can find the playlist, Second Look, right here on Big Productions. Or you can also find Rhyme and Reasons Part 2 Star Trek, where we talk about our top 10 Star Trek movies. Talk about motion picture. Me and Sandy also rip into the Abrams films a little.
Yeah, we do.
In which all three of them made the top 12 Carl Urban movies, which is a random episode from a few weeks back.
Must have not seen a lot of his work, haven't
Look, if you go through his career, he's done a lot of small roles and I think he hasn't done a lot of leading stuff. But so what do you have for 11?
For 11, I have Death Race 2000.
Matt, what do you have for 11?
Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Still got Star Trek the motion picture. Sandy.
Death Race 2000.
So Malcolm, let's just assume for the rest of this, if Sandy has it on his board, Soda has it on his board, and vice versa. It'll just make the process quicker.
Well, I mean, we'll find out anyway. But Matt, you've still got Escape.
Malcolm, you know me. Good to see.
I've still got Star Trek. Sandy, what do you have for 10?
Okay. Obviously, I can't write fast enough, but it was going to be Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
And Soda.
I had Battlestar Galactica.
Good thing about not having to erase my board, so I have time to make the headers. But yeah, I've still got Star Trek the motion picture on my board. Sandy, what do you have for 9?
I have Battlestar Galactica.
Same, that's going to be my next one is Battlestar.
Matt, what do you have for 9?
I gotta change my board. I have to walk away. What do you got at number 9, Malcolm?
I've already said I've got Star Trek the motion picture.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter because don't they have the same thing? I will not have motion picture at number 9 if that makes it easier.
Yeah, no, I figured you wouldn't have had it.
You know what? Battlestar Galactica I probably would have had as well at number 9.
Soda, what do you have for 8?
This is where I have Soylent Green.
Matt, what do you have for 8?
It auto-corrected. It's not Solvent Green, it's Soylent Green.
I've still got Star Trek the motion picture. Sandy.
I also have Star Trek the motion picture.
So we've got a tie. We're going to go to the chat. The first one I see,
Eric's in the chat.
It says either Star Trek the motion picture or Soylent Green. So the first comment I see come up is going to be the one that's going to decide whether what goes into A. And Leo Logan came in first and said Star Trek.
Okay.
Oh, either way, I get screwed if I'm with Eric. You know, guys, Star Trek isn't just about phaser fights and proton torpedoes, okay?
Hey, there's lots of those in that movie, so.
Well, there's actually no phasers in that movie. There's one moment when they fire the proton torpedo to destroy the asteroid, and that's it.
Photon.
I'm really not selling this movie to people, am I? I do it to myself. Malcolm had to change his board. It's very difficult for me and Malcolm when our picks get picked.
But Matt, what do you have for 7?
I have Soylent Green.
I was going to do one thing that I changed my mind. I'm going to do Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Sandy.
I have also picked Soylent Green.
And I have as well.
Crap. What do we have left? Star Wars, Superman.
I will get to that in a minute. Just once I get this.
Sorry about that, Malcolm.
Right, so we have got Mad Max, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Alien, Superman, and Star Wars. And I only just realised it, but apparently a lot of 70s sci-fi have started with the letter S. Because, I mean, depending on if you want to count Strongest Man in the World, even though it's got that as well, but like at least 5 is started with the letter S. So what do you have for 6?
This is where I have Rocky Horror.
Matt.
Again, this is based off the ones I've seen. I have Alien.
I've got Close Encounters. Sandy.
It's I just want everybody to know that I had my board up and ready before anybody said anything. I also have the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Can we feel the romance tonight?
Look, honestly, I'm not too mad about Rocky Horror Picture Show coming out at 6 because 6 is currently where I have it on my first. Matt, what do you have for 5?
He still has Alien.
Yes.
I've still got Close Encounters. Sandy.
I have Mad Max this time around.
I also have Close Encounters.
Ooh, that means it's close.
Well, top 5. Okay. Could be worse.
Yeah.
I swear I'm never gonna get Daredevil run again ever, Malcolm. Never ever. That was I peaked on Rankin with that. I'll never do that again. Which, by the way, guys, Daredevil, the series, Daredevil Reborn,
Born Again.
Charlie Cox, it's
Born
coming.
Again.
Oh, Born Again.
Yeah.
They've dropped quite a few trailers. Wakanda
And look,
Forever.
the fact that Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan are now on Disney Plus, I hope that means it's not going to be any different than the Netflix series.
We already had it up here in Canada. Disney Plus.
Well, I mean, they announced yesterday that the Marvel Zombie series is going to be TVMA, which is the same way.
Oh,
as Deadpool
that
and
is
all that.
awesome to hear.
So happy.
That is great to hear.
But Sandy, what do you have it for?
Mad Max.
I just overtook this. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's all right.
Mad Max as well.
Matt. Mad Max. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When you brought up Daredevil, I thought you were going to plug that episode of Rank.
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, you can find top 12 Marvel superheroes.
What do we got left? Got Alien,
Wars,
Superman, Star Wars.
and Alien.
Yeah, the big guns.
Yeah.
But there's another one, right? Like, no, they just got the last 3.
No.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
That's 3.
Oh, good God. What am I going to do? Man, okay.
Whoops. Wow, this is just a weird thing. Our last 3 picks, 77, 78, 79. Funny little thing, huh?
And honestly, I think I did something I completely forgot about one of these three because I should have brought it up earlier for me personally, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. But Sandy, what do you have at 3?
Alien.
Soda.
Alien.
At,
I'm gonna do the thing, right?
I've got the alien known as Superman.
I knew when you said that, I was like, I know what he's bringing up. Ugh. We'll just pick up between children now. Oh, God.
We're going to number 2. We're going straight to number 1.
Oh, so we're gonna do our number ones next?
Yep, because the other one becomes number 2 by default.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
so if you voted for number 2, then vice versa. It's more engaging.
It's one of those ones like it's more suspenseful to do it this way.
Oh, I get it.
Or else every
Yeah,
ranker would just end with his voting for number 2, and then just like, and I guess that means this is number 1.
But Sandy, what is your number 1?
All right. Well, I mean, it should be nobody's surprise that this is going to be number 1, but it is absolutely 100% Star Wars.
Soda.
Star Wars, give me the
Matt.
Star Wars.
A lot closer than you would have thought, but ultimately had to go with Star
Of
Wars.
course.
Star Wars.
Listen, I'll take Superman being at number 2 any day of the week. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's Superman, but it's up against Star Wars. So yeah, nice. That was a great list, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But with that being said, to recap the Stardew 40 New Year. But with that being said, I'm going to recap the top 12 list for sci-fi movies of the 70s. At 12, we've got The Strongest Man in the World. At 11, we've got Diff Race 2000. At 10, we've got Escape from the Planet of the Apes. At 9, we've got Battlestar Galactica. At 8, we've got Star Trek, the motion picture. At 7, we've got Soylent Green. At 6, we've got Rocky Horror Picture Show. At 3, we've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind. At 4, we've got Mad Max. At 3, we've got Alien. At number 2, we've got Superman. And number 1 is Star Wars. I've got the poll up on the Take 3 Productions Facebook page right now for what you want next week's episode to be. We could be staying in the 70s for a different genre, or we could be going elsewhere.
Or we could be saying in sci-fi.
Well, true. But at last I checked, it was between Blumhouse and comedies, 70s comedies.
Fair enough.
But Sandy, I don't know if you're around there, but where can people find you online? I'll go to Soda first. So Soda, where can people find you online?
You can find me on my personal Twitter and Instagram at soda_the_saxman. You can find me over on the Northern Entertainment Group. Wednesdays on the Squared Slice, the wrestling show. Thursdays on Rewind the Tape. Me and my friend Ben, we just shoot the shit on whatever movie we decided to watch that week. Saturday mornings over on the Northern Countdown, our top 5 show. And Saturday afternoons over on what was formerly known as the Dropkicks after we come back from our 2 weeks hiatus. On the Let's Get It Right Network, myself and Dagan S. Broad, we will be the blokes of wrestling. So that's pretty much it for me.
Sandy, where can people find you online?
He's got to think.
Timing.
Right, Matt, where can people find you online?
Nah, I'm just messing with you. I'm just screwing with you. You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, Matt Movies 611 on YouTube, and right here, and I swear it gets longer every week, as host of the Fandom Podcast. Bit of a hiatus right now, Second Look, which episode just went up this week on Star Trek The Motion Picture. Please go check it out if you enjoy this sci-fi of the 70s conversation. Keep it going. You can watch that video. The next episode, which I don't know when that will be out, will be on Willow, my favorite fantasy movie.
Too late.
Also, I'm co-host of Simple Tricks to Nonsense with Abe Flores. We have an episode recorded, but neither me nor Abe decided to edit it. But it's there, and I'll get it up sometime soon. And then, of course, the big thing is me and Manning, we're still continuing with our 6-part series on James Bond. We're going through every actor until we lead up to October, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Dr. No. Episode just went up the other day, where we cover the George Lazenby era, which is a joke in the episode. You watch it. It's funny if you watch the episode. And we will be changing the show from now. Instead of pre-recorded episodes, they will be live streams. We don't have it. Might be next Sunday when we do the Roger Moore episode. It'll still be the same thing. The only difference is you may see me and Manning screw up. But still, it's great. And please, watch the Bond movies along with us. Watch them along with us. It might be fun to sort of keep up with us. And we're doing only the Eon productions, so no, when we did the Connery episode, we didn't talk about the one from '83.
But one thing is, I'm going to point out the irony. I find it funny that Sandy's camera's freezing while they're in the middle of a heat wave. Sandy,
we like Coltrane, Canada right now.
It's so hot. Like, it's just so hot. Everything is melting, including my internet connection for whatever reason. Listen, guys, I'm usually all over the place. You can find me at Full Metal Media on YouTube and on Facebook. We are in the midst of rescuing our season this year, and all things that we're going to be doing are going to be running up for the Snowball main event this coming December. So if you are looking for your movie trivia fix, if you want to participate in movie trivia, join the Facebook page, jump on YouTube, join the YouTube, hit me up in a messenger. Find me around. I'm all over the place. I've actually been thinking a lot about Rhyme and Reason over the last few weeks. So me and Matt might have to have a little conversation about maybe revisiting Rhyme and Reason at some point. That's just a thought I had in my head. But you guys can find me, Sandy Robinson, Facebook, YouTube. I'm everywhere. Thanks. Had a lot of fun, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find me over on Take 3 Productions, where I host Rankum every Saturday. Topic next week will be whatever wins this poll. Come join us over at Full Metal. I changed the banner briefly just so you can see the Facebook page. But you could over there if you want to participate in trivia. We have a lot of fun stuff. We've got classics, we've got randoms. You can have a topic on anything you want. If you want to do a match all about Britney Spears hairdos, I will figure out a way to do that match and write a match on Britney Spears hairdos if you really want to.
Somebody do 70s Disney sci-fi movies. Malcolm just watched a shit ton of them. He had to write a lot of questions.
He'll never say, I didn't see that. Never. It'll be, I saw that.
Look, I've been forced into writing a 50 Shades of Grey random. I've also been forced
Malcolm, I'm sure that was real hard for you to do.
Oh, man. Oh,
come on. Sometimes you just gotta whip yourself into shape, okay?
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I've also been forced into writing a VeggieTales match too, which never happened, which maybe no. But
wait,
that being
what? Ninja Turtles, did you say?
VeggieTales.
VeggieTales.
Yeah, those ones. But that match never happened for whatever reason, which was slightly annoyed because I watched a few VeggieTales format. But anyway, I'm all over the place. Like people ask me to build stuff, I quite often say yes. But that being said, until next time, keep being random and
thanks to you, that's over now, and you've ruined that for me.